Alright guys, this was highly requested. We have the S23 versus the S21. I think I did this comparison last year, but I have a lot of people, requesting this comparison. And, it's because the S21 is getting, or it is on its last major OS update. This phone still will get security patches, so I mean, if you just really want a new phone, and the S23 is at a pretty good price right now, you could find for around $350 used refurbished like this one. And, it's definitely I think a good upgrade. You get a pretty decent amount of stuff here, but it might not be a necessary upgrade. So let's go ahead and dive into this one. One thing that you'll notice is the body is a little bit longer on the S21. And of course we don't have our little cutout here. You can see that my S21 is, really beat up. But yeah, one thing you'll notice is that you do have a plastic back on the S21, which, it doesn't feel cheap, or I don't think the phone looks cheap because you have the metal sides here and it still has that nice weight to it. But I can see how some people, they just don't like the plastic because it doesn't quite feel as good as the glass, but I don't think it really is that big of a deal. But yeah, you do have a full premium design on the S23, and they're both IP68 dust and water resistant, and they're both pretty comfortable to hold. Now, there's not really a big difference here with displays. They are pretty much identical, with the S21 actually having a slightly bigger panel here at 6.2 inches. It's dynamic AMOLED, 120 Hz, HDR10+, 1300 nits peak brightness. It is 1080p 421 for the PPI. The S23 is a little bit smaller at 6.1 inches, but the same dynamic AMOLED display, 120 Hz. But we do have a higher max brightness at 1750 nits. And then we also have 1080p 425. And yeah, of course, the bezels really don't seem that much thinner on the S23 compared to the S21. It's not really that much really noticeable, and the colors are pretty much the same as well too. And yeah, so there's no real upgrade with the display besides the max brightness. So if you're outdoors, a lot, you'll be able to appreciate that. So like today, I went out, took some photos, but you could see the S23 a lot easier. But yeah, I would say the display upgrade is pretty minimal. Let's talk about these specs a little bit more. So both are running One UI 7. You get a 4-year pledge with the S23, so that launched with Android 13, and this one is on its last update, and it launched with Android 11, so it'll currently be in security patch stages. We have the Snapdragon 888, 128 gigs and 8 gigs of RAM. Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, 128 gigs and 8 gigs of RAM as well. You can see with the scores here, multi-core is pretty nice upgrade. In your single core, you do have a performance boost in here. I would say you really can't notice the difference now in terms of animations and smoothness. It really comes down to, do you play games a lot? This AAA processor is not that efficient when it comes to managing like heat. For me as a lighter user, I've never had that issue or crashing or significant FPS drops, but that is a big complaint with this processor. These things kind of can get hot if you start to do a lot of intense stuff, and it don't really have to be that intense. Just doing GPS, maybe an hour gaming session or something like that. But as you guys can see, this is a nice upgrade when it comes to your benchmarks in Wildlife Extreme. You're getting much better frame rates here. But I would say, as far as animations and smoothness, no, the One UI 7 update has been excellent on the S21 series. It is really smooth. It feels just like an S23, and honestly, it feels similar to my S25. They got the animations down packed where it's really smooth. So it's pretty impressive on this older device. And it just gave the S21 a really nice, fresh feel. But as you guys can see, yeah, it's going to be a little bit slower getting into applications. And you can see it actually tied it right there. But yeah, guys, it's really not, to me, noticeable at all. So they feel exactly the same. Temper run. Yeah, so it's like a slight difference, but it's not I don't think it's noticeable. Yeah, so if you're looking for some type of performance upgrade in general use, it's just not there. Even if we load up a bunch of apps, I'm still not really seeing it. But it is, the S23 is getting into stuff quicker. So I wonder if it'll start to slow down as we, because one thing you'll notice is the animations will slow down a little bit. That's how you know. So a little glitchy right there. It's a lot smoother. So it looks like when we load up more applications, it can be a little, but it's really not that bad at all. Yeah, it's still pretty consistent, except for like coming out of this back animation. You can see it's a lot smoother on the S23. So yeah, so that's like the main thing you'll notice. But yeah, it's not like a big deal, and it's for some reason in landscape, because portrait it's coming out of stuff perfectly fine. So like, yeah, you don't see it, but if I come out of this, yeah, it has this little, I wonder if that's a bug. As far as PUBG goes and just gaming in general, like I said, the S21 can get a little bit hotter, but it can still play PUBG at 90 frames. So for me, like playing Call of Duty, PUBG, even the emulators and stuff on this phone, it worked pretty well. I don't have an issue, but again, I'm not playing for a very long time. But even right now, it's kind of warm. We didn't even really do anything. We just launched apps. So yeah, so you know, that's the thing. Let's see if the S23, yeah, the S23 is not as warm. But the big difference here is the 120 frames, and you'll notice this throughout basically any game you play. Genshin, Call of Duty, it's just going to be better. Emulators are going to be better because you have that extra power. So I would say this is a great upgrade for people who actually play games, but I would say if you're more like me and you're more of a lighter user and you don't really play games like that, I don't think it's worth the upgrade until, I would say keep the phone until it stops getting security patches, honestly. The other thing that the S23 has that's an advantage is Galaxy AI. I personally don't use the Galaxy AI, but you might. The S21 does not have any AI features except for the circle to searches here, and then of course the updated Gemini is here. But besides that, you don't get, you know, the call assist and all the other stuff, transcript, photo assist. So, you know, it really comes down to the person whether they want the AI features or not. It depends on if you think they might be useful. I'm sure throughout the years they'll add more AI features, so you know, it's something to think about. The fingerprint scanner is also basically the same as well, so there's no upgrade when it comes to that. They feel exactly the same. Check out these speakers at max volume. So they pretty much sound the same, except for the S23 has a lot more bass, but the overall sound profile sounds exactly the same. Yeah, so the S23 just has a more balanced sound because it has more bass. As far as the cameras go, you have a 12 megapixel standard on the S21, 64 megapixel telephoto lens. It can get you all the way up to 30 times zoom, 12 megapixel ultra wide. It can shoot in 8K24, 10 megapixel selfie. It can shoot in 4K 60. The S23 has a 50 megapixel standard, 10 megapixel telephoto. Can also get you up to 30 times. And then you also have a 12 megapixel ultra wide. It can shoot in 8K 24 and 30. And then you have a 12 megapixel selfie that shoots in 4K 60. Honestly, guys, the big upgrade between these two phones is really going to be the battery life. You have pretty good battery life on the S23. It's a lot better than the S21. You have better standby time. Even though I feel like the update has helped the S21 standby time, but the overall battery life is just going to be better. And the funny thing is the S23 just has a slightly smaller battery at 39 versus the 4000 on the S21. But because of the chip efficiency, you just get better battery life. And they both pretty much have the same charging specs. 25 watts, wireless charging, reverse wireless charging. So yeah, so I would say it's a pretty good upgrade, right? But I don't think it's a necessary one right now if you're not a gamer. And if you don't have like a major battery issue with the S21. But besides that, you know, it comes down. There are upgrades here. So you get the Galaxy AI, you get more updates. You also get better gaming performance. The cameras are slightly better on the S23. But besides that, you know, it just comes down to what you want to do. I would say you could probably wait another year and the S23 will be around $300, if not a little bit cheaper. So it's just something to think about. But let me know what you guys are thinking.